Hello, and welcome to the Power Play Manager Hockey tutorial series. Today's topic is the Players section. We will begin by navigating to the Players section by clicking on the Players button. This brings us to the page also called Players. This page gives us a simple overview of our players. As well, it is the only page that will show us what special functions each player is fulfilling. You can see that Randy Love is our team's captain, with Jared McFleur and Declan McPherson as alternate captains. This section will also show you your country's flag for any players that are on your country's national team. The $ will show up green for any players we are trying to sell on the market. The L icon will turn red for any players we are currently loaning to another team, and the G icon will turn gold for any players we are currently loaning from another team. If you ever forget what each one stands for, please refer to the legend that is found at the bottom of most pages, or try hovering your mouse over the icon or column. Note that at the time of recording, player loaning is not yet functional. The next icon shows if we have scouted or are currently scouting any of our players or not. None of our players are currently being scouted, so let us do something about that. If we wanted to scout, let's say, Rob Bouchard, our goaltender, we need to click on his name to go to his player profile, and then click the link Add to Scouting. In the beginning, scouting your players will take weeks. Later you can get it down to days. We will talk about this more in a future tutorial on facilities. We will now return to the players page. A player's age indirectly affects the player's career longevity. The next two columns, average quality and career longevity, directly affect how well the player will improve his skills each day. We will talk much more in depth on player energy in a future tutorial. In general, low energy will cause your players not to play as well as they are able to. This season has just begun, so our players still have most of their energy remaining. Popularity is gained for each player by doing well during the season, and will affect attendance in games. We will talk more about this in a tutorial on finances. The last column is for the overall rating of a player, which gives a general idea of which players are the best, but this is not always true. The tutorial on what makes a good player will discuss this in more detail. Let us move on to the overview page now. The overview page contains a detailed overview of our players. It contains many columns that the players page did, but a few new ones as well. The first column actually shows us which position each player is playing. If you have not yet set a lineup, then this column will be blank. Note that it only shows the position that your players are set for in your default lineup. We will talk about this more in a tutorial on the game section. After the career longevity column, the next 7 columns show the attributes of all of our players. By ordering by a specific attribute, like goaltending, we can see which players might be the best candidates to put in net. Again, we will talk about how to intelligently choose your players for each position in a tutorial on what makes a good player. The experience column shows how much experience your player has gained by playing games, and the last column shows which side the players prefer playing on. L stands for left, R for right, and U for universal, meaning that they'll play both sides equally well. The next page is contracts. The contract column shows how long it will be until the player's contract must be renewed. The salary of the player will not change until it is up for renewal, and you will be notified when this will happen. This page also shows how much you are paying each player daily, the number of days they have been on the team, and whether or not you want to auto-renew contracts for each player. If you have auto-renew on, you will still receive warnings about contracts that are about to expire, but they will be renewed automatically. It is suggested that you keep auto-renew on unless you know for certain that you are not going to keep a player. The loan column allows you to mark players suitable for loans, which have not been implemented yet. The injuries page shows players that are currently injured. Any player with 5 days or less left on an injury can be set to play day to day. Note that they will not play as well as they normally do though, and are more prone to getting re-injured if you do this. It is recommended to only use the day-to-day option when you do not have any backups left for the injured player. We are going to change the default for playing day-to-day to no. The Scouts page contains various Pro Pack features, which we will talk about in a future tutorial on Pro Packs. The Statistics page enables us to see our players' stats for the regular season and playoffs. Also, we can check how well they have done in past seasons. Finally, we will visit the Practice page. This page is very important to check once a day. Here we will find which attributes our players are set to practice and how much they gained during the previous day's practice. The last thing this page shows is the quality of each attribute for the players. The quality of an attribute is denoted by the gray superscript number beside each attribute. These numbers range from 1 to 99. The higher the number, the better the player will practice that attribute. One other thing to note is that once a player has gained an entire attribute point, or what is referred to as 1 OR, or 1 overall rating, that attribute point will be highlighted in green, like is shown here. In recap, the players and overview pages contain most of the information about all your players. Contracts shows the state of your players' salaries and contracts. You can also see your players' injury status, statistics, and practice settings. This concludes the Players section for the Power Play Manager Hockey Tutorial Series.